of which is to be more inclusive of the autistic community and provide everyone with the support they need. One woman who has been working tirelessly to achieve this goal is Ariva Martin. She's the founder and CEO of the Special Needs Network, a nonprofit working to help families affected by developmental disabilities and the enormous challenges they face. Ariva joins us now to tell us all about it. Good morning.
Thank you so much, Jess, for having me.
Yeah, so you started this nonprofit back in 2005. What does the Special Needs Network do exactly?
Well, we work at the intersection of disability rights and social justice, and most of our work is really focused on families who live in underserved and under-resourced communities. We provide over 20, mostly free, programs to not only the individual impacted by autism or other developmental disabilities, but to their entire families. So our services range from direct intervention, ABA therapy, to a free summer camp, to resources for families who are looking for housing, who are looking for jobs. We just ran an incredible financial literacy program for moms. We're partnering with Habitat for Humanity to help African-American families who have kids with disabilities get into their first home. So we just have a range of programs all designed to help the individual with autism live their best life, but also to help elevate the lives of their families.
That's incredible. It sounds like there are so many programs. So what inspired you really to start this?
My own son. My son Marty was diagnosed with autism when he was 2, and even though I'm a lawyer, my husband's a lawyer, and we have access to lots of resources, I learned how quickly so many families who don't have the resources that we had, how difficult it was for them to navigate the systems of care and to access services. And unfortunately, African American and Latino children get diagnosed later than their typical peers and have trouble accessing services. New CDC report out says that now 1 in 36 Black and Latino kids are diagnosed with autism. So the incident, the number of kids that are getting diagnosed keeps growing and growing and growing, which means the need for our services also keeps growing.
And I imagine you wanted something like this when you found out. Did you know something? Did you suspect something was off when he was 2?
Yes, great question, Jess. I have 2 other kids. I have 2 daughters who are older than my son, and so I knew what developmental, milestones look like, and I knew what the typical development process would be for a child. So I noticed with Marty that he wasn't talking, he was isolating himself, he wasn't responding to his name, and he was just not developing in the same way that his sisters were. So I sought out professional help. It took me a long time to get referred to a doctor that was a specialist in making this kind of diagnosis. And I remember the day my husband and I were in the office of the developmental pediatrician, and both of us are lawyers, and we had, of course, a lot of questions. And what the doctor had was a lot of responses like, I don't know, we don't know, I don't know, we don't know. And it was so just frustrating for us as parents to walk out of that office with so little information. And as I started to do my own research and started to just get more immersed in the community, I realized that there were so many unanswered questions. I took a leave of absence from my law firm. I wrote a book. I started the nonprofit, and I really moved from what I think was my own depression about my son's diagnosis to a place of advocacy. And I have just been so overwhelmed with the support that Special Needs Network has gotten over the years. It started with 1 volunteer in a cubicle in my law firm. We now have over 200 employees. We have 4 offices. We have these 20+ services. We've provided services to hundreds of thousands of kids and families throughout, not just Southern California, but really throughout the state. So I just couldn't be more proud of the team that works the Special Needs Network every day, giving 110% to improve the lives of kids on the spectrum.
And really quickly, you say spectrum. Autism is really a range. It is such a broad range of spectrum. What is one misconception that people often get with autism?
Well,
or a lot of misconceptions.
Yes,
the biggest, I should say there's a lot, but the biggest misconception
is that people on the autism spectrum aren't capable of learning. And so if they have some deficits, whether it's with speech or their cognitive abilities, people just assume, well, why bother, why try, because they can't comprehend. And that is so like false, so inaccurate. Kids with autism have tremendous abilities. It's just about how they are presented with information. It's about getting an early diagnosis, and it's about getting those early intervention services, again, that so many kids who live in poor communities, so many minority kids don't have access to. So that's what Special Needs Network, we're here to stand in that gap, to make sure that all kids, no matter what neighborhood you live in, no matter what race you are, that you get the kind of services that kids throughout our community get, because every child deserves an opportunity to live their best life.
And every child learns differently, right? So it's important to get the proper education for that child. Just because they have autism or they're on the spectrum doesn't mean that they're not capable of learning. Okay, so what are your hopes for the organization?
Oh, God, we're opening a new clinic literally like in the next month over across from MLK Hospital. So we're going to have this comprehensive autism center where families will be able to bring their kids, parents will be able to come. We're going to offer wellness classes for the parents and a range of interventions from speech therapy, occupational therapy, ABA therapy for children. My hope is that this organization continues to grow and that we're able to serve more families, because as these numbers keep rising, like I said, our demand for services keeps rising, and we just want to be able to make sure that we can provide services to every child in this community and really across the state that needs it. That's what our mission is. That's what our goal is. That's what we go to work every day determined to do. And like I said, I've been so blessed, so many incredible board members and sponsors and supporters who have been on this journey with me. So
amazing. And it is talked about so much more now, which is so fantastic, but there is still so much more to learn about.
So much more to learn about acceptance and awareness, which is why April is so important. We're having this big conference next week at Cal State Dominguez Hill on Saturday, April 22nd, another free conference where we bring in experts from all over the state to really help educate families and professionals about autism, talk about issues like implicit bias, how to get therapies that are culturally sensitive to families and their needs. So, we invite everyone out to our conference. It's next Saturday, free breakfast, lunch, all kinds of giveaways. Amazing. We love giving things away at Special Needs Network. So,
you do. You're helping. You're giving things away, and you're really helping so many families because there's just so much more to learn about autism. Well, Ariva, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jess. Appreciate it.
Such a great organization. And still ahead on California Live, it's the other popular